This afternoon, I have the pleasure of being joined by Ivo Raza. He is a writer, director, and producer for a new film. Well, not necessarily new, but a film we're covering, Reboot Camp. And we also are joined by Chaz Bono, who plays a camper named Herbert. How are you two gentlemen doing?
Hi.
Doing good.
Great.
Awesome. I had a lot of fun with this film, and at the same time, kind of got my wheels turning about the industry. Ivo, do you want to start us off by telling us a little bit about Reboot Camp and where the idea came from?
Sure. It is new. It's just hasn't been released yet. It's being released May 4th. But, it feels for us that we've been working on it for a while, especially with COVID. It's a slow process. But the film is it's the basic premise is about these two brothers who start this fake self-help group so that they can create a documentary about it, but from within, shooting as it happens versus making a documentary in a traditional way. And they're doing this with good intentions, but of course, doing bad things with good intentions leads to all kinds of wrong paths. And so, they start succeeding with this reboot camp, and with success, of course, comes attention from a variety of different people, including people who want to take over and turn this into something completely different. And that's basically the premise of the film. The origin of it is because I've always been fascinated with cults and these secret groups and the leaders who have this seemingly magical capability of seducing people into doing all kinds of crazy stuff, like giving up their families, giving up their life savings, and all kinds of things. And so I researched it a lot, and in researching, I found that there is a system. There's a absolute system on how to approach, and it's gradual and it's slow. And I used some of those steps as chapters in the film, and we explore them. Things like love bombing and things like creating new belief systems and so on and so forth.
It absolutely is very interesting, and I like the way that you guys split it up, because it's funny, it's a comedy, but at the same time, it really highlights those points to how they're able to almost like seduce people into submission. Chaz, let me direct this question at you. I have a note here that says research and markets say that by 2022, the self-help industry is going to be a $13 billion industry. Why do you think people like Herbert and other people just around the world are so enamored with trying to find guidance?
Because I think people are dealing with a lot of stuff and are looking for somebody to fix them or have an easy answer. And Herbert comes into this situation having in the midst of a personal crisis. And he's looking for somebody to fix his life, to make him feel better, to give him something, and is really kind of the at that place where you're so vulnerable to this type of thing, and he gets just sucked in completely and totally, and that was one of the things that I talked with Ivo about this character, was that to me Herbert ends up as the ultimate camper. Like he's just drunk all the Kool-Aid and is the most enthusiastic into it of anybody there.
Ivo, when putting together this film, where did you guys find the line as far as what would maybe be too far-fetched, or right there where it would be just also weird enough to get the point across?
This
is a very good question, and I nothing was too far-fetched, but what I found is that in attempting to make a comedy, I couldn't go too far into what some people have experienced in actual cults,
Mm.
because there are real abuses and real negative effects that people have been subjected to, and you can't make fun of that. That's just personal trauma. And so that's why it is more lighthearted and it's more self-help. And in that, you can't go too far, because you can do all kinds of crazy stuff in, you know, with this purpose of finding yourself and growth and stepping out of your comfort zones, or whatever you want to call it. You know, the one thing I want to add here is, like, we're not knocking self-help. I think self-help is very important and very helpful, actually, when done properly. We're knocking con artists who are taking advantage of people under the guise of self-help, because there's quite a few of them out there selling all kinds of stuff and making, you know, a pretty penny at that.
I noticed that in the film. Chaz mentioned, I mean, these are real people who are looking for help because they're dealing with things. So I enjoyed the aspect where you guys focused a lot on the con artists themselves, and it wasn't even the Guru Gordon St. Pierre or his brother. Maya Sturgeon's Claire. That was I thought such a phenomenal character, because that was that control of the one who really ended up being almost an antagonist in the film, for a lack of a better term that's coming in my head. Can you talk about her character and how that really helped kind of seal the deal?
Well, I think the you know, in terms of classic story structure, this would be a tragedy because they fail, right? So the irony here is that they go and do something to educate the world about the nefarious activities of these people, and then they get sucked into the very thing that they're trying to prevent. And that's the irony of life. And that is life. Life is like that. Life is not linear, right? And that's what, to me, makes it so much fun. And then Maya, who did a fantastic job, comes in as, yeah, she's the antagonist for sure, who wants to take advantage of an amazing opportunity, and manages then to become the person who seduces one of them, at least temporarily.
My favorite line in the movie is, "You don't know you're in a cult until the last 10 minutes." And it plays a role throughout the film. I thought that was great. Chaz, I want to ask you, what was it like filming some of these strange exercises, and it just looked fun, and it looked like maybe you guys had a great time filming.
It was. I mean, it was a lot of fun. We did have a really good time filming it. I mean, it was silly. We did a lot of really silly stuff, but it was, you know, we shot this film, the vast majority of it at Frank Sinatra's old house in Woodland Hills. And it was a great experience because, you know, we used, you know, all of the bedrooms downstairs as all of our dressing rooms. We were, you know, sharing rooms. We were right across the hall from each other. We were always together, you know, all the actors, you know, we weren't off in our trailer by ourselves. We were all there hanging out. So we were either, you know, in this space kind of communally, or, you know, outside filming and doing ridiculous, you know, exercise. We spent a lot of time in this pool, which was great because it was shot in the summer and it was hot. And yeah, so it was a really fun experience just as an actor, and kind of a different experience of you don't generally just communally get to do a bunch of really silly things. And David was so good as that guru character that you know, it seemed, as silly as it was, it's, you know, in the moment it was really it you know, and in character it felt reasonable, you know, in a strange way. So I just think it just worked, you know.
Can you talk a little bit about shooting, any challenges, and maybe getting the place? But it sounds like you guys had most of your shooting done in one location.
One primary location. We, you know, to me, I mean, the film is called Reboot Camp, so obviously the location itself is a character in the film and an important one. So we spent quite a bit of time looking for the perfect spot that would give us this opportunity to use, you know, the whole grounds, not just a house with a small patio or something, so that we have variety built in, because some of these films that are single location ones have a claustrophobic feeling. Like at some point you're like, okay, get out of the house. You know, like I need some space. And then we shot at some other locations as well around LA, just to give it more dimension. And, you know, challenges, I mean, you know, we really had a wonderful cast and crew, and it was a very strong sense of we're in this together, camaraderie, we want to make it, you know, work. And so nothing crazy beyond the usual film production stuff that happens. You know, stuff doesn't get delivered, props, or, you know, things break down, camera doesn't fire up, stuff like that. One of the biggest challenges was that on the one day we had Eric Roberts and his wife, which was this day that wasn't even scheduled. We had basically half a day at the location. We set up that scene with the toilets, you know, and we had, you know, 45 minutes to shoot it because there was a wedding happening 45 minutes later. So we shot this thing, and then everybody, myself included, all the producers were just like you know, disassembling these toilets and running on the one side of the house to remove them, and the wedding party's coming in through the main door. It was very funny. Stuff like that, tons of stuff like that, but it's all wonderful and a joy of filmmaking.
When putting together the film, also, how did you choose the type of people that would be involved in this camp? We saw him fail miserably with reality stars, which I thought was great. We saw a pregnant couple. I mean, just all types of walks of life.
Well, that was by design. You know, I wanted to have a very diverse cast in a variety of ways, not just demographically, but also from, you know, backgrounds. And so, you know, we have film actors, we have TV, we have daytime TV, we have soap, reality stars, and you know, comedians like David Koechner, and then you know, hip hop artists like Ja Rule. So it's this amalgam of who we are. I mean, this is who we are. This variety of stuff is the melting pot, and that's who we are. And we can all get sucked into something like this. It was very important that this is not a unified, you know, very kind of limited group, because then it's a whole other story. You know, this story is, we can all at the wrong moment in time, when we're feeling in between, like Chaz's character Herbert, who was, you know, after a terrible breakup, totally confused, lost, had no one to talk to. That's a perfect moment to get sucked into an organization like this, because you need answers, you want a support system, you want people to feel like family. And if you don't have those things naturally, it is very, very easy to just kind of slip into.
I like that answer. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm going to wrap this up with a question to both of you. Chaz, you can take it away first. What do you guys hope audiences take away from Reboot Camp?
Well, I mean, I think just first off, I hope that they have a good laugh, because I mean, that's what it's there for, first and foremost. You know, I think there is a message there. It's not like heavy-handed. It doesn't hit you over the head, which I think is good. But you know, I think there's a message about, you know, thinking, you know, critically thinking about stuff, about, checking out people's motives and what they're, you know, trying to sell you, not literally, but you know, and what's behind it. And if something looks like it's too good to be true, maybe it is. You know, I think this film is coming at it in a great time where we're seeing, you know, so many, you know, people getting into, you know, into ideologies and things online where you're just like, how are people buying this is true. And so, yeah, I think it's timely, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, to build on that, you know, it's critical thinking and considering the source and considering the motivation is huge. And not, there are no shortcuts, right? I mean, there are no easy answers. There's nobody who can come and magically tell you, oh yeah, this is what's wrong with your life and here's what you need to do. That doesn't exist. I mean, it's just, we all want it to, because it would be much easier. We want to surrender the decision making, right? I mean, that's because it's hard. But it's just not there. And so the exploration of this is kind of that. Obviously, the first goal of the film, have fun, hope you enjoy it, hope it's your sense of humor and you get a good laugh. And secondly, it just, you know, registers a little bit on the subtext of like, hey, you know what, there's something to this. And that's all we can really expect. I mean, ultimately, it's about if they connect with the characters and enjoy the story.
So it's not as easy as standing on a couch?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Billy Morris.
Chaz, Ivo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and congratulations on a really well done film.
Thank you very much. It was a
Thanks for having
pleasure.
it.